Recently, I bought a new camera, and I wasn't quite sure. I needed a replacement for my A7S because the autofocus is just too unreliable. Sadly. Or maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I don't think so. So, I was looking up some cameras and I debated the A7C, for example, or the A7 III. I'll make a video soon about the motivation, why I think we all started, at least the one of us that are a little bit older. Why did we start photography? Why did we start videography? I got some old cameras there, up there in my sideboard, and I will show you what I mean. But today, it's not about that. Today it's about a camera that I will use for video, and it's a pretty good one, I think. See. When I talk about aesthetics, I mean the aesthetics of the old days. If you watch old movies from the 80s or 90s, maybe even late 90s, they had a magic look to it. It was because of the film used. It was because of the lenses or the cameras used. Modern day cameras, they're sterile. They're just clinically corrected and everything looks flat and the same. There's no love to it. There's no beauty to it. When you look at old photos from the 70s or 80s, you see the beauty, you can feel, right? And I think we all started photography or videography to show what we feel and see to others, right? So it's not just to get the moment and then you put it on your hard disk, that's it. No, we wanted to share what we feel and see. And we express ourselves in photography or videography, and it's an art form. Like the painter that expresses his or her feelings by painting, right? This is what we do. In the end, photography means painting with light. When I was young, my parents got a camera. It was about 1991. And this camera was later used by me to shoot my first short films, short movies, and videos in general. This camera, of course, is an old one, and I still got it. I think it would still function, but the battery is dead, of course, but it's this one. It's a Panasonic camera from 1991, I think. It's a worldwide sponsor, 1992 Olympic Games. It's a Panasonic JTS25-4 VHS-C format. It still smells like the 90s. Back then, I think Panasonic was a reasonably good producer of cameras and optics. And they used this one to shoot short films. It was amazing because back then, you then got your VHS-C tape, and then I had to put it into a VCR, right? I had a small television for this VCR, and then I had to digitalize the video footage with a separate computer with a video card in it, so that I could copy or could render and digitalize the video footage of this into my computer to then edit it. The process was a bit more complicated than today, just taking out your SD card and then you got your video, right? But looking back at that, I think it was more fun because the videos, the images, it looked more natural. Today you would say it looked nostalgic. Back then it was not nostalgia, of course, because it was a modern system. But still, you know what I mean. It has more a lively look to it. And this is why I bought the Panasonic S1. Sony, come on. Yes, there it is. So this is why I bought the Panasonic S1. And I wanted to try out the video functionality, the video looks of Panasonic 30 years later. Almost, yeah, it's more than 30 years later. We will check out how this looks. And I bought two lenses for this. I bought the Meike. That's a German name for girls. I bought the Meike 35 f2 and the 50 f1.8. They are pretty cheap lenses, so I was hoping for some 3D pop on these lenses. They are not that heavily corrected, so I had not that much time yet to test them out completely, but we will see how it looks outside. So I'm looking forward to test out the Panasonic S1 for video. What I've seen so far regarding the photos looks pretty good, almost too good actually, because compared to my other older cameras that I got there, it looks too modern. But what do you expect? It's from, I think, 2019, but it has very nice picture control and very nice presets. So we will go outside and test the V-Log feature, and we will see if the Mikey 35mm will give us something good. But in comparison, well, I don't know. I just wanted to try it out to see if Panasonic is still good. I believe it is. Let's check out. Alright. Now we are on the Panasonic Lumix S1. I'm not quite sure how to set it up because the autofocus seems to struggle a little, and this is just euphoric, you know. It is terrible. It cannot possibly be that terrible. I tried out a few settings and it never did anything at all. And yes, I set it to continuous and it's in video mode and so on. It just didn't do anything. I was in the frame, but nothing happened. I placed the autofocus and human detection right there. Like this, right? Nothing happened. So we will see. If I am in focus now, then it should look alright. We are on the Mikey 35mm f2. And this lens in theory should look good. But the autofocus, it cannot be that bad. Does it have me? I will check out. But if this is the case, if this is the autofocus for video on this camera, no, I cannot keep it. No way. It's even worse than the A7S. And that's rude of me to say, but if this is the case, it's even worse. Cannot be. I cannot accept that. We got human detect, autofocus on. Nothing happened. Nothing. It cannot be. I cannot accept that. It cannot be worse than on the A7S. It's not possible. This cannot be the case. I must do something wrong. Must. It cannot be that bad. Nothing happened. It's not that it just don't recognize a human, because if I'm moving, I'm pretty sure the autofocus lost me already. This cannot be. This would be even worse. No, I cannot accept that. I cannot accept that of a camera from 2019, the autofocus being that bad. It's worse than anything I've ever seen. This is not possible. Not a camera with these video features that this camera has. Cannot accept that. It gotta be that I do something wrong. I hope I did something wrong. Other than that, if I am in focus, and maybe I'm not, then I have to reshoot it all again. But how's the look of the Mikey 35mm f2 on the Lumix S1? I think it should look good if I'm in focus, and I'm not confident that I am. I could mount the monitor, I need an HDMI cable for that, but I don't know. I don't know. The autofocus cannot be that bad. Maybe it is only the case in V-Log. The Sony A7S seems to focus a little better when not in S-Log 2. But I have to Google this, because it cannot be that it is that bad, right? Not that bad. I knew that it's not Sony level or Nikon level even, but this is worse than the old Panasonic from 1991. This is worse. Even really, it is. The autofocus of the old Panasonic was not good, not really good. But this would be, wow, this is worst case scenario, and even worse than the Sony A7S with native glass. No, this cannot be. It's got to be a joke, right? Cannot be. No. I'm confident that I'm doing something wrong. Maybe there's some tweaks that I have to make inside the menu or whatever. This cannot be, because in photo modus these lenses are good. I watched some sample footage of these lenses. Everything was fine. So I do not think that it is the lens. It has to be the Lumix. This cannot be. Well, other than that, let's give it a little bit of time. Maybe it's just on the slower side, right? Because it's clunky, it's big. I like this camera so far because it is a large camera. Compared to the A7S or A6700, this camera feels good in hand because I'm a little bit older. And when I started photography, I used old and heavy SLRs and then digital SLRs. And they were heavy and big, and it feels more like a camera to me, at least. I did not like small cameras, and this one is pretty heavy and pretty large. It feels good, but who needs a camera? It feels good if it doesn't focus even. No, it cannot be. No. This cannot be. Let's check another scene. I tweaked some settings. Apparently, there is a setting that the autofocus is dealt with individually when in video mode. So right now, I set the reactivity to the max and the speed to the maximum. Do we see a difference? Please, Panasonic, please do not disappoint us in that way. You cannot do that. You cannot be that bad. It is impossible. I believe that you are not. I believe it was my fault. At least I presume it was. Well, I don't think it was, but now it should look better. It should work, at least. Not fast. I'm not trusting this, but do you have me? I think you do. I think you do. I now aligned a focus field to detect human faces or humans. I don't know if this is face detection, but I surrounded my face possibly with this focus field. So in theory it should work now. So what we have seen so far was just a out of focus image of this camera. Now we have the in focus image with this camera. Maybe. What do you think about the Mica 35mm when I'm in focus? I think it looks amazing for the price point. It was about 180 euros, so if this lens is good, then it is another Nikon 40mm f2 or what was it? TT Artisan 40mm f2 equivalent, maybe. Maybe. This should look pretty good. So now a little focus walk towards the camera. I'm moving slow. Does it still have me? Would be sad if it not. So from what I've seen so far, when the autofocus gets you, chances are it will track you, it will follow you. You see, I would not be at all disappointed with this autofocus if this camera would be a little bit older, like 10 years older than it is actually, from 2009. Well, autofocus, what's that, right? Or 2014. Autofocus, well, yes, it functions, but like on the A7S. But the autofocus of my old Sony A6000 was good. It was so good, it was better than on the A7S. The sad thing is that the trust is broken. The bond of trust is broken. Right now, it could be that I bore you to hell with a video where I'm out of focus. It's even more boring. But I want to give you a realistic impression. Right now we are back in vlog. I think it needs some time, and it is not the best autofocus, of course. But from what I've seen so far, I like the look of the lens. I like the look of the lens. We will see the rest of it. So this is my first video with the Lumix. I will make a follow-up video with the Lumix, about the Lumix, and about another lens that I got for the Lumix in the next days. So I will discuss a little more about the Lumix and what I found, because I did not have time to test everything out and see what I like or dislike. But there are a few things already that I do not like, and I do not mean the autofocus. So we've seen the autofocus, or did we see the autofocus? we've seen the out of focus, right? Ah, well, I will see what I can do. I will check out, I will learn something more about this camera and then test the autofocus again, I think. So that's the first video. So if you buy this camera, set it up and rely on your human detect autofocus, this is what you will get, most likely. Because I set back everything to factory reset and so on, and then I just mounted it, tried it out, and this is what you will get. So let's tweak a little. I will look into that and see if it really is the case that it is that horrible bad. But I tweaked some settings. Now it should work. I tested it out on the face, on the human face. Well, maybe my face is not human, but I tested it out and it worked. It was indeed something that I had to tweak in the settings. Too bad that this camera doesn't come with these settings as a default, because tracking was just off, fast autofocus or quick autofocus was off, and it had something to do with the sensitivity and the detection in general. So right now, I think I can hear the autofocus, but I think it should work. So if this works right now, thank you, Panasonic. Thank you for providing me with some relatively reliable autofocus that is at least better than the autofocus of the A7S. Well, I think we've seen enough at this point. We have seen, at least, that this camera can autofocus. It can autofocus better than the A7S. And this is something that takes a load of my mind. So right now, we're still on the 35, and I will show you the 50mm from Mica next time. Well, so far, there's nothing more to say. It's a little bit complicated, so that you have to set up everything and you have to choose the right autofocus mode. I will check out the other autofocus modes that will have no human detection in them. But if the autofocus works like that, I'm pretty confident that I can shoot a lot of video with this camera. I will mount my field monitor as soon as I found the HDMI cable, and then it will give a little more confidence. This is not a this is not a just on the run I shoot myself camera, because it has no articulated screen. But if you mount the monitor and you are at your property, or you have the time or the space to set it up correctly, then it should be pretty good. I think it looks good. I will see what the vlog can give us. And thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I will show you more about this camera, and I will tell you more about this camera in the future videos that I will make with this camera and the lenses that I got for this. So, one love. See you in the next one. Does the autofocus still have me?